Om Jnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Without Narayan, which is Ravana's policy, take Lakshmi away from Narayan. Even, you see, there may be some Nataraj or all this. So we respect all these deities, but for our worship is for Krishna. All the descriptions in the Vaishnava books are of Ekanta Bhakti, Bhakti Naishtiki, Shuddha Bhakti, Ekanishta Bhakti. That means when we worship Krishna without any deflection, without any interest in worshipping demigods or imitation gods, worship Krishna. That is required. Prabhupada called that, the English translation, unalloyed devotional service. And this is the standard. This deity worship, this is very nice. You have in your home. Look after the deities also. Don't allow them to be... You see, the deities, they are not statues, but they appear in the medium of different material elements. Just like Jagannath is known as Daru Brahma, means wooden form of the Supreme Lord. You saw in the Abhishek, we were performing by offering the different ingredients on the heads of the deities made from metal, but not of the Jagannath, because his form is made from wood. So you have to consider these things also. Just like Mother Yashoda, she's also feeding Krishna. Not that Krishna is going to starve if she doesn't feed him, but that's the exchange of love. So in the same way, we have to regularly bathe the deities, change his dress. You consider yourself. You don't like to go days on end without bathing, isn't it? You like to go many days without bathing, wearing the same clothes. It's not very nice. So if you invite Krishna, then also you bathe him regularly, give him regular change of clothes, feed him regularly. Don't starve him. Don't just, sometimes you see people, they offer a little cup of milk and then for themselves they're cooking so many things. Krishna has to be satisfied with milk only. Everything you cook for the pleasure of Krishna. It means no tasting the food while you're cooking. No cooking in aluminium pots, because you don't want to poison Krishna. Aluminium is poisonous. You have to see. For Krishna's pleasure. Always considering, just like in the winter, you won't offer the fan because it's cold. You don't want to make Krishna cold. Then you can look in the market and see which fruits are coming in fresh in season. Any fruits coming freshly, offer to the deities. In this way, always thinking to please Krishna. That will be deity worship, and Krishna will be pleased. And you will also be happy if you worship Krishna like this. This is only happiness. There's no happiness. There's no happiness in this material world. People don't know how to be happy. They're trying so hard to be happy. They don't know. Happiness is a very simple thing. You simply worship Krishna. Offer some flowers to Krishna. The pleasure a devotee gets by finding some beautiful flowers and offering to Krishna, finding out the best. Of course, here you can only get whatever's in the market. But many devotees, they'll keep a garden and carefully cultivate the different flowers, and then they're looking to see which is blooming. Is this one ready? Maybe leave it for another day. Now this has come very nicely. Offer to Krishna. The pleasure a devotee gets from that is millions of times more than that from someone being elected prime minister or winning the world tennis championship or whatever it may be. Poor people are struggling so hard with great endeavor to become happy, but a devotee automatically surpasses their happiness by offering one flower to Krishna. So nice thing. Devotee can always be happy. There's no such thing as boredom for a devotee. He can sit down in front of his deities and simply sing for the pleasure of his deity, chant the holy name. This is Krishna conscious life. So please worship the deities very nicely. Don't neglect them. Don't reject them. Don't forget them. Make them the center of your lives. It's a very serious thing. If we practice in this life to worship Krishna, then certainly if we go throughout our whole life worshipping Krishna, then when we leave this body, when we go to our next destination, we'll certainly continue worshipping Krishna. This is the practice. Practice to go back to home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world. This is an eternal activity. It's not a temporary activity of this material world. So try to do it nicely. Krishna will be satisfied. And if Krishna is satisfied, certainly we will be satisfied also. Hare Krishna. Today is the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. Srivalla Prabhu announced that I would speak something about Srimati Radharani, to which I told him that I wouldn't. Because Srila Prabhupada didn't publicly speak, or even privately for that matter. Very cautious, because to understand Radharani, it's not simply a matter of saying Radharani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, and then that's it. All of a sudden you understand Radharani. It's very confidential subject matter. Radharani can be understood and appreciated by those who have developed their service mode to Krishna, because Radharani is the greatest devotee of Krishna, which means she has the strongest service mode to Krishna. So let us develop our mood for service to Krishna. That we can also develop by praying to Radharani, who is always engaged in serving Krishna on the topmost platform of loving exchange. Actually, we cannot approach Krishna directly. But if we go through Radharani, Radharani is very kind. She may recommend us to Krishna. Of course, to approach her, we have to go through the whole parampara system also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam, Nomi Krishna Surupam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna endowed or imbued with the loving sentiments and bodily luster of Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought to this world the highest sentiment of love of God, which was otherwise not known. That following in the footsteps, not imitating, but following in the footsteps of the cowherd girls of Vrindavan. Ramya kachitu pasana brajavadhu vargena ya kalpita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the sentiments of the cowherd damsels of Vrindavan as the topmost method of worship of Krishna. And among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the topmost. For us conditioned souls, struggling with our mind and senses, trying to chant Hare Krishna, is very difficult to understand the exalted position of Srimati Radharani. That is possible by purification within the process taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let us go on with that process. The basis of that process is chanting the holy names. Also we're performing deity worship. That's another point I should make, is that deity worship is not exclusive of chanting, or it's not a replacement for chanting. Rather, deity worship must always be accompanied by chanting of the holy names. So when we're chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna, we're praying to Krishna and Radharani. O Krishna, O energy of Krishna, namely Radha, please engage me in your service. So that is our prayer. Please engage me in your service. Let us be engaged in your service. Deity worship is an opportunity to practically fulfill that, to engage in the service of the Lord. Also, we should remember when we're worshipping deities that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the worshipable form of the Lord in the modern age. So we're worshipping the deities, but his movement is Sankirtan movement. It's not that we're simply stay in our own home and worship the deities, but we should come out also to join with all the devotees in chanting the holy names of Krishna and preaching Krishna consciousness. That will be very pleasing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Hare Krishna. I think I'll not take any questions because it's quite late, isn't it? You all have to take prasad also. So please take prasad, Srimati Radharani's prasad. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhakti Vikasa Swami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radhastami Mahotsava ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ji Gaur Mithai Deity Installation ki
Jai.
We also seek the blessings of Maharaj so that we would have in the near future full-fledged installation and the temple here in this part of
Let's see. What is Krishna's desire? I remember I went to Moscow first in 86, which was time of heavy communist rule. So I was just thinking, when will there be a temple of Krishna here, and Harinam in the streets? At that time it seemed impossible. But within a few years, it's going on. So you never know. By your prayers that may be possible. By your sincere desire. By your sincere desire, Krishna will be pleased to reveal himself more and more. This chanting definitely has a very purifying and positive effect, which you may not be able to perceive all the different benefits of that. We don't know how powerful this chanting is. Jai Hare Krishna. So we're going to just